I remember very clearly being truly amazed by the attention that Samantha got. The outpouring of love for her was phenomenal. Children are inherently brave. They are inherently joyful. And as caring adults, we should all be doing a whole lot more to empower them to safely navigate our world. They should be able to play outside of their front door and be safe. The only person who's with them every day, all the time, for the rest of their lives is them. I learned more in the 5 years of being her mother than in any other period of my life. She taught me so much, and she keeps teaching me.
Welcome to America Lost and Found. We are taping from Studio 770's own Blueberry Suite. And America Lost and Found was inspired by my sister's disappearance. However, it is not all about missing people. And that is because my sister's disappearance taught me many things. And the biggest thing that her disappearance taught me was not to focus on what I'm missing, but to focus on what I have right here and now. And so our guests, some of them will have a missing loved one. Some of them will have other difficulties. Some will be musicians. They will be from all walks of life, but they will have overcome something, some grief situation, some loss. And the thing is, we all, if we're breathing, we're going to have loss in our lives. Everybody does. You know, it could be, you didn't get your ice cream cone, which I have said before, you didn't get your ice cream cone, and then you go through the loss of that, or it could be anything. Your sister stole your toy. But today we have the opportunity to speak with Erin Runnion. Erin Runnion, her life changed in 2002 drastically, and I will have her tell you a little bit about that. Can I get her bio up there by any chance? I know Erin pretty well. I could probably go on about her, but I'd rather read her bio. Erin is the mother of Samantha Runnion, and she is the founding director of the Joyful Child Foundation. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Orange County, California. Erin works to honor Samantha's joy and courage by uniting communities to protect and empower every child to be brave and stay safe. Please welcome Erin Runnion. Erin, hi.
Hello.
So this is, in a way, it's very interesting because America Lost and Found started out as a TV show in 2004, and we interviewed you all the way back in 2004, and here we are 20 years later.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Wow. Yeah, undoubtedly a very different interview.
Yes, very different from then, and I'm different as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been through a lot.
Yeah, we have all been through a lot. If we live long enough, we'll go through stuff. And that's our life. That's our life. That's the thing that I keep thinking lately is, whatever we go through, good, bad, and different, every day is literally our life. And I've spent a bulk of my life trying to chase something. When I get here, then I'll be all right. When I get there, then I'll be all right. Or I'm wishing I had what I had in the past. Like it's one or the other. Either I'm chasing or I'm laying back trying to find what I lost. And I'm really trying to drink in the fact that my right now, I know the power of now, Eckhart Tolle, and there's all kinds of people that are always talking about now, just be in the now. But it's always easier said than done when life hits you and distracts you from being in the now. But it's becoming more crucial for me at this point in my life to be in the now and to just live my life. This is my life, bad or good. It's my life right now. I don't have to wait for anything. I'm already living. It's almost like you hold your breath, waiting for that moment, then I'll live. But I'm already living. And I'm just so excited that I can be living for this moment to have America Lost and Found on a podcast where we can actually encourage people to live their lives, to live right now. And for me, you're that kind of person. Like, you are
Mm.
so inspiring to me. You are not just gorgeous on the outside and, photogenic and all those things, but you're articulate, you're intelligent, and you're real, and you're nice, and you're kind to people. Like,
Thank you.
at the level of person and the things that you have not acquired, but achieved in your life, you could be like, nah, I'm all that, but you've never, you've never been that way. You're always just so real, and I so
Oh,
appreciate that.
well, thank you. But
And
it also will never be enough, right? I think, I fall to the other side. I just feel like I've never done enough. It's
mm,
never going to. So there's that, right? Which is also not particularly in the now, right? That's still chasing. It's still,
it is chasing.
and I like what you had to say about being in the now because it's the only thing that's actually happening.
Right. It is. It is. And I decided that there's no carrot to chase because we are the carrot.
Mm.
We are the carrot. And if we realize that, then we're more present, we're more alive, and they'll pick us. Or if they don't pick us, we pick us. Who cares if they pick us, right?
Right.
Whoever they are.
Maybe the now is the carrot.
Then now, okay. Then now's the carrot, not us. We're not the carrot.
We just got to eat it.
Eat the now. Oh, well. All right. So, Erin,
Mm.
tell us a little bit about your story, as much as you feel comfortable with telling, and
Sure.
then, we'll see where
Yeah.
that goes.
Well, right. And it has been almost 22 years now. It's incredible to think that. But my daughter, Samantha, portrait's behind me. She was playing outside in 2002 with her friend, and a car pulled up and asked the girls if they would help him find his lost puppy. And Samantha bent down to say, "How big is it?" And he rushed toward her, grabbed her. She kicked and screamed and had the presence of mind to yell to her friend, "Go tell my grandma," who was at home with the kids. And he threw her in the car. And that was about 30 yards from our front door. And he sped away, and she was found, thankfully, the next day. Um, but sadly, she was gone. And so my experience with the missing is the worst 24 hours of my life. I cannot imagine the ambiguity of loss for those who are missing for longer. That is part of why we are friends. It is part of why I have always wanted to be of some support to you, some partner to you in this journey, because it's horrible to lose your child. It is horrible to lose someone you love. And at the same time, it is a whole different thing to not know. And the worst was not knowing.
Yeah, the not knowing is tough. It is tough
It is.
because you don't know what to do with that. You don't know if you've looked hard enough. You don't know if you've screamed loud enough. You don't know what they're going through.
Right.
You just don't know. It's too much that you don't know. And you don't know how to grieve because should I grieve? Maybe I don't need to grieve. Maybe they're okay.
And right. And absolutely. I've known lots of parents who felt guilt for feeling the need to grieve
Mm-hmm.
because they were also trying to keep hope.
Right.
And that is, it, it's hell on earth. I cannot imagine. But for my glimpse.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that Samantha was found quickly.
Me too.
I'm sorry for you for what happened, but the joy that that little girl has brought through her disappearance and the loss of her life has brought to so many children and so many lives through you and through your mission. Um, it's it's something that can't be measured.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's bigger than all of us. And like for for my sister's case, when someone is found, it's almost like my sister's found. So when there's a joyful child that you're able to work with, and that child is able to take and use some of the things that you have created through your research and all of your hard work, that will be useful tools for children to remain safe. And they actually are saved by some circumstance. Wow, that must just, I don't know. I
It's the best.
it is the best. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit how you went from, the saddest moment in your life to standing up and saying, I'm going to do something about this? What was that in you that did that turnaround and gave you the strength?
Um, it was a sense that she was amazing. Like when I named her Samantha Bree, her father's last name was Jackson. Um, she chose to go by Runnion when I left him and we had moved. But the idea of that name was, could it be a Supreme Court justice? A friend of mine, that was her barometer for whether or not it was a good baby's name.
That's
And I
funny.
swear to you, her sense of justice was incredible. Like she just, I know I'm biased. I know this, but she really was incredible. And I just couldn't believe that the world was robbed of her. And so very soon after, and you knew my mom, like my mother was a very big thinker. And so my mom and my husband Kenneth and I would just talk about how this can't be for nothing. We cannot have gone through that for nothing. And that's ultimately what drove us to start the foundation. We started the Joyful Child because I was sitting there meditating next to her bed, and I just burst out crying. She was such a joyful child. Every child deserves that. And they should be able to play outside of their front door and be safe. And that's what got us going. But it was also, I think, this very deep sense that she was more than the way that she died. And I feel like that was actually, it was part of the name of the Joyful Child, right? Remembering what we're actually trying to protect. But also what fuels me was I learned more in the 5 years of being her mother than in any other period of my life. She taught me so much, and she keeps teaching me. And there's joy in that. It's sad, but it's joy.
Wow, I get that. I
Nice.
get I get that she keeps teaching you, because I'm the same with my sister. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But you
So,
have to be open to that, right? You
oh
have to be open.
yeah, for sure. I think with great loss, there is a seed, a very large seed for something great to happen with that. And I think we wouldn't feel such great loss if we didn't have great love. And so the gift is that we had that great love. Some
Yes.
people don't ever get that kind of great love. And we had that. And now you have been able to turn that great love, this beautiful child, this joyful child, this brave child, which I want you to tell us about the brave. Um, this brave child, you've been able to turn it around and like almost, like put Samantha in the face of the world and let them know what she represented. And in that, people's lives are changed. And that's just phenomenal that you've been able to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember very clearly being truly amazed by the attention that Samantha got from the media and just people. Like the outpouring of love for her was phenomenal. And I could only imagine that the reason that she touched people was because when people looked at her little face, it they saw a child that they love. And so that's really what I see when I teach Brave, as you mentioned, is the Joyful Child Foundation program, Be Brave, Be Safe. And we teach children how to be safe, what they can realistically do in different situations to get away from danger, to avoid it if possible, to tell someone. And when I am with those children, it's that spark. I see that light, the same light that I saw in her, the hunger for the life that is to be led and the desire to own it. Right? There's just such an enthusiasm about becoming an independent human among our kids. And I think we can learn from that. You know, a lot of us get scared as we get older, and children are inherently brave. They are inherently joyful. And giving them the tools to be that, to continue to grow into their courage, to grow into their joy, instead of being afraid that they can't. Um, it's it's a joy to me. Yeah, and she gave me that. She taught me that.
She taught you that. That's awesome. Yeah. So now you started the foundation. You have all this inspiration surrounding it. How did you come up with the plan? How did you create the lessons? What did you have to go through to make this happen?
it it was quite the journey, friend. It's I've just we had a board meeting the other day, and I was like, I think it's time for us to revisit our evolution because the program has changed so much over the years. When we first started, I did not want to scare children. Samantha had been through a stranger danger assembly style event at school and had nightmares consistently for days and days afterwards. And I knew I did not want to do that to kids. And so I focused on parent education because for me, I knew about abduction. I had talked to her about good, bad, and unwanted touch, but I didn't really, well, I knew what we should know, which is that abduction is rare. It is not a common event. And so I was focused on keeping her safe from molestation and didn't even let my brain consider the possibility of abduction. And I had to deal with a lot of guilt around that fact. But when I dove into the statistics around crimes against children, I was like, every parent needs to know this. Every parent really needs to understand how vulnerable their children are to the entire spectrum of violent crime because they are the number one victims in this country. And as caring adults, we should all be doing a whole lot more to empower them to safely navigate our world. And it has changed over the last 20 years, obviously. Facebook didn't even exist when Samantha was taken, much less every social media outlet there is. So it was really about wanting to give the parents and the caring adults the tools that I wish I had had. So that's how we started. Our first program was actually called Samantha's Pride, and it was a neighborhood child protection program, like a Lion's Pride was the concept. And we did that for several years, and it didn't work out. We had lots and lots of support. We had about 300 volunteers in doing neighborhood pride programs, but it just wasn't sustainable without a major county agency helping to keep it going year after year. And then I got to do Rad Kids. I was invited to a conference and I got to meet the founding director of Rad Kids, and I went through that training. as did you and so many of
Yes.
my dearest, closest friends. And that was really transformative because in Rad Kids, we learned what you could teach children, what they could actually do with realistic, not just life skills, but actual physical defense skills. And from there, worked with them for several years. And then I had a school district that wanted a curriculum that they could train all of their teachers to do. And this was a huge district with over 40,000 students. And so they contracted with the Joyful Child Foundation because the Rad Kids model wouldn't fit into their curriculum. And so I spent about 5 months writing a curriculum with a teacher. I worked with a teacher very closely because I didn't know the first thing about making up lesson plans. And we created a curriculum. And then we pilot tested it with about 24, 28 teachers here in Orange County. We went up to the district that had contracted us. We did a week-long training with them. And the response was fantastic. But even that we launched the curriculum in 2012 and it got to a place and then districts got afraid of teaching children physical defense skills, afraid of having the capacity to handle disclosures of abuse, which happened immediately. Even in the pilot program, we had our first 2 disclosures. And our schools, our counselors, our teachers, our communities are ill-equipped to handle the volume of abuse that our children are suffering. And what more can we do than give our kids the information to tell, right? That's
Right.
the best case scenario is for them to tell.
That's
Because
right.
on average, it's 3 to 15 years before a child shares that they've been abused. So our goal is to get them to say something when it's just uncomfortable, unwanted touch before it progresses anywhere beyond that. Or if somebody scares them, empowering them to say, I don't know why, but that person scares me. I don't want to go with them. Giving them permission to say something. And it's hugely successful and at the same time, very difficult to get people to want to do. It's the
Right.
darndest. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It was, as I said, a huge process. And then in 2018, one of the biggest pieces of feedback we got from teachers was that they wanted videos. They wanted it to be easier because there were some topics that they were completely comfortable talking with the kids about, and they had slide decks and all of that and activities for every lesson. But they wanted videos that would do the talking for them in case it was too difficult for them to, because we as adults know what we're trying to protect them from, right?
exactly.
If you're an adult survivor, it can be a huge trigger to talk about these things. Even if it's in the most gentle, age-appropriate possible way, you know what's behind it.
Right.
And that can be really hard for survivors. So I think we ran into some of that. Anyway, my point is just that we've been doing digital video-based lessons now since 2018. And that was a whole nother learning curve. All I do is learn. I learn and try to turn it around really fast so that our kids can benefit from it. That is my career. Yeah, my life work is to learn faster.
Well, you're amazing. And the thing that strikes me is that you keep going. When the door kind of slams and this isn't working, you put something together, you spend a lot of time putting this one thing together and it doesn't work. Then you spend a lot of time putting the next thing together and that doesn't work. And then again, and
And it's embarrassing. It's hard to keep doing it. It's frustrating.
So it's embarrassing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because you feel like you're failing.
Yeah. My goal is to reach every single child in America, and I am far short of that. And that has been the goal for 22 years. Yeah. Frustrating.
You are making me cry because you have accomplished so much. For you to think that's embarrassing for a minute, when you just keep finding the strength, you keep digging deeper and finding the strength to go to the next place, the next place, and the next place. And I believe you will reach your goal. I do.
Thank you.
Because I don't know where you pull that strength from, but Samantha, I guess, she's
Yeah.
teaching you. Come on,
Hmm.
Mom, you got to stand up. You got to keep doing this.
Right.
So
Well,
what so what if you're embarrassed? You're going to save a child.
right. And it
What's the
is
most important thing, right?
right analogous to parenting. When you think about all of the phases of learning and the way that their brains work at different ages, I remember one of the best pieces of advice my mother ever told me was just remember, always, it's just a phase. Always. So it does make sense in that way that you do have to keep reinventing the ways that you're communicating, the ways that you're trying to reach people. Um, yeah, I don't lose heart entirely, but yeah, just to be honest, it's a frustrating, endless learning curve that I insist upon enjoying, and I do. Like that's the thing about the work we do. This realm is beautiful human beings trying to help children and families. Like you tend to meet some really wonderful people. So we didn't start out with the support network that we have today, but I wouldn't be here 22 years later if it weren't for all of the incredible human beings I've met along the way, you among them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's mutual, for sure. For sure. I just remember seeing the joy in your face when you're teaching a group of children. I feel like you're on fire and you're in your element and it's like each child is there as an individual. That's how you talk to them.
Thank you.
Even though they're a group, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you are getting to each one of them and
Thank
speaking to them in that way. I don't know how you figured out how to do that, but I need to go to more classes.
you. It is such a joy. It really, it's that's the part that I love the most. And that actually is the hardest part about creating the videos because not only did I have to learn how to do that, but I'm not in a room with children, like it takes a long time to get to where we're filming a scene with kids and it's not the same as teaching them when they've been scripted, right? It's not the same.
That is so true. That is
Yeah,
so true. That
very different experience.
Yeah, that connection when you can look someone in the eye as opposed to pretending like you're looking someone in the eye.
Right?
It's, I guess it takes all of our acting skills and
Yeah.
but yet it still is, feels like it falls flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do a wonderful job.
Thank
Yeah,
thank
you're amazing. So, what's going on now? What is happening soon with the joyful child?
Well, a few things. So, in terms of our Brave program, I'm actually very excited. We have a new partner called Healing to You, and they got a one-time federal grant out of the emergency fund from the pandemic to create mobile wellness health clinics that are going to be serving domestic violence shelters throughout Southern California. And they will be sharing our Brave video lessons. And we have developed a comic book that even if the children don't have an opportunity to watch the videos, they can get this comic book rather, that will take them through the Brave principles and give them a taste of what they can do and how to create their own plan to be safe. And hopefully then also watch the videos when they have the ability to do so. So that's coming now, and we're getting additional grants and looking for additional funding to be able to distribute that beyond the domestic violence shelters through the grant that spurred it. Because I do feel like tangible is really nice for children. And so if you have a video, that's great. But if they also have a book that they get to color on and connect to in a tangible way, it's helpful. So we're
That's
working on that. Yeah.
that's great. I was wondering if they would get to color. That's
Yes. And
perfect.
color. Yeah, we're working with the perfect artist. His name is David Lujan, and he's out of Austin, Texas. And yeah, he's just done a beautiful job. I cannot wait to see the final product. We just looked at the preview yesterday. So I'm
Nice. So this is
very,
fresh off the
yes,
press.
yes.
Wow, fresh news. So what else? It sounds like you have other things.
Well, we have our Joyful Gala. This is our annual gala. It's our biggest event, our only major fundraiser. And that is October 26th at Strawberry Farms Golf Club in Irvine. And I may have been one of the only people in all of Orange County not to have been there. But I had the opportunity last year to go there. And as I was driving up this beautiful drive, you go from the center of Irvine into the fields. The fields are alive. It's beautiful.
Did you start singing?
Yes, I just felt like transported in the course of the quarter mile of the drive. And I was like, I didn't even see the venue yet. I just was like, I want to have the gala here. And so sure enough, you drive up and there's a giant red barn all set up for an event. And so that's where we're going to be.
Giant red barn.
Indeed.
Why are you wearing that red again?
It was Samantha's favorite color. She had these little red boots that she wore all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. And your mom's favorite color, right?
indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
How nice.
Yeah, I like all the muted colors, but the red makes me have to be present, right? I
Yeah,
don't get that right. I have to represent. Yeah.
yes.
The reminder to represent.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so the gala is the 26th of October?
It is.
And how can they find out about it? And how can they find out about other things that you're doing? And can they donate and all of those?
You can do all those things at thejoyfulchild.org. There's a link to the event page. We also have our eighth annual, which I can't even believe, eighth annual Brave Race is going to be February 23rd, 2025. And that we have a 5K, a 10K, a joyful combo of both for those who are so ambitious, and a 1K for children.
Okay.
And all times. So they get ribbons, they get tiles if they're number one. Like it's just a wonderful community event. And that happens in Aliso Viejo.
Okay.
And but if you go to thejoyfulchild.org, if you are a parent, a caring adult in a child's life, I would encourage you to go to the programs tab and look at the elementary or whichever age group you serve. But we have the top tips. We have downloadable free PDF to guide you through a conversation with a child who you care about to help them develop their own plans to be safe and really start that conversation with you about what it means to be safe and why it's so important. Because while we want to be there all the time and helicopter hover over them to keep them safe, the reality is that's not healthy and it doesn't actually keep them safe. The only person who's with them every day, all the time, for the rest of their lives is them. And so they deserve to know what they can do. And that's what we try to give them.
That's beautiful. That's
Thanks.
beautiful. I love that people can go on your site and find out about all the things you're doing, but also someone can be helped just by going on there. They can help their child, their classroom, and they can live anywhere.
Yes.
And I also wanted to mention for the Brave Race,
Yes.
you don't have to live in California to be part of it. You can do a virtual. I
That is
did a
absolutely.
virtual this year because I
Thank you so
couldn't be
much.
there. And it was so great. I actually got to do it, but I did
Yeah.
it. I did it. But not where you were, but
Right. Right.
so
Yes.
you can be part of it no matter where you live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've now that we've done that, we've offered that, I guess, since 2020, maybe 21. I'm not sure how quickly we figured out how to do a virtual race, but it's been a few years now. And now different places you see teams building around the event. So we have little virtual teams that are running, which it's just awesome. Yeah, we had more
Oh,
participants last year than ever before, and it was nice to see that. It's such a life affirming event. Yeah, even if you're barely walking, it feels good.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, a couple more things and then we're going to wrap it up. I
Oh,
just had this thought. Did you ever think 20 years ago that you would have done all of these things? Did it ever occur to you all the traveling and the mileage and the learning and the curves and the,
no, I think don't you think it's a good thing we don't know?
I am positive that it is a good thing we do not know. We'd
Let me
never
just,
start anything, I think.
no, not in a million years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really, it's, our organization is called the Joyful Child Foundation because I thought, people were just sending us money. And so I thought we would be supporting organizations that did safety awareness for children. But at the time, you couldn't even find Brad Kids online back then. Like it was so hard to find any organizations that were teaching what I thought children needed to know. And so we ended up developing our own, but we do still support other organizations through grants, but it's all we can do to keep our own programs going at this point.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I would never imagine.
I imagine. So, and then the last thing that I want to ask you is because this show is called America Lost and Found, and our goal is to hopefully inspire the listener who has lost something in their lives, inspire them to find something in their now that will elevate them, that will take them to the next spot.
Mm.
Do you have any advice for them or any little tidbit that you could give them as we are signing off here?
Well, the first thought, I'm just going to go with it. It's a heavy one, but I truly think that the most helpful thing I did for myself was to look at Samantha's pictures alone, hold myself up and give myself time to just look at her pictures, let myself cry, keep coming back to the memory of that moment until I smiled. And I did that because I could not bear for this beautiful face to make me cry every time I saw it.
Mm,
And I was like, I have to be able to remember her for who she was, not just how she died.
right.
I truly believe, even if you're not sure where your loved one is, you're doing them honor by remembering who they were, how they made you feel. Keeping that alive in you will give you hope, will fuel your next step because their energy is in you. That's the beauty of love. We really are that connected. And there's a place for grief, but it can evolve and you can live with a sad heart and still have joy.
What a great way to end.
I hope so.
You can live with the sad part and still have joy. Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Erin Runnion, thejoyfulchild.org. Is that correct? That's correct,
Yes.
right? Thejoyfulchild.org. In case you want to find out more about what Erin does, if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to be part of her programs, if you would like to educate your children. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much, Janelle. Thank you.
I love you.
Bring our missing home. I love you.